Old Trafford was rocking. The atmosphere inside the ground on this final home day of the 2025 to 26 Premier League season was electric. And within 5 minutes, the stadium had already witnessed something special. Luke Shaw, a player who has battled through so much during his time at this club, rose to meet the ball and struck a fine volley to put Manchester United 1-0 up against Nottingham Forest. The tone was set instantly. This was not going to be a quiet, comfortable afternoon. This was going to be a football match full of drama, controversy, records and emotion. And by the time the final whistle blew, Manchester United had won 3-2 in a game that gave this fan base everything they needed heading into the summer. But before we go any further, I want you to understand what this game truly meant. This was not just 3 points. This was the closing chapter of a season that has seen this club go through enormous change. A new manager finding his footing, new signings proving their worth, the captain chasing history, and a group of players fighting to show that the rebuilding process at Manchester United is genuinely working. Everything that has been built over these last several months was on full display today, and I'm going to take you through every layer of it. Before we dive deeper, I want to pause here, because if you are someone who genuinely wants to understand what is happening at Manchester United beyond the headlines, beyond the Twitter reactions, beyond the noise, then you need to be subscribed to this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what we do here at Marcus United Analyst is go deeper than the surface. We look at the facts, we analyze the decisions, and we give you the full picture. Now let's get back into it. The stakes today were significant. Manchester United were closing their home campaign, knowing that Michael Carrick, who has been operating as interim head coach, is now widely expected to be confirmed as the permanent manager. The situation is that his appointment is reported to be imminent. So today was not just a football match, it was, in many ways, a public interview. A final home audition in front of 60 to 70,000 people. If United had lost today, the narrative would have shifted. Questions would have been asked. Doubts would have crept in. Instead, what happened was the opposite. First half analysis, control and controversy. Let us start with the first half because it set the foundation for everything that followed. Manchester United dominated the opening 45 minutes. The evidence of that is clear when you look at the numbers. By half-time, United had taken 10 shots to Forest's 4. They had 13 touches inside the opposition penalty area compared to Forest's 8. Possession was almost evenly split, 51% to 49%, showing that this was not a game where United simply camped in their own half and defended. They were aggressive, they were forward-thinking, and they looked hungry. The goalkeeper, Senna Lamans, was credited with a brilliant one-on-one save in the first half that kept United's lead intact. His performance was composed and assured, and he handled the ball with security throughout. Without that save, the narrative of the entire match could have changed. Now let us talk about the goal that opened the scoring. Luke Shaw scoring a fine volley in the 5th minute immediately set the tone. Shaw overlapped with intensity throughout, and his physical commitment was clear. For a player who has faced injury challenges, his presence and quality today was a statement. Diogo Dalot was described as a clear upgrade on the options available to the club at right back on current form. His crossing was precise and his passing was incisive. Harry Maguire relished the physical battle with Forest striker Chris Wood, winning aerial duels with real authority and even driving forward at moments. Lisandro Martinez improved from his previous outing, offering nice forward passing and some last-ditch defending when it was needed. In midfield, Casemiro came into this game knowing it was likely to be one of his final appearances for the club. The situation is that he is out of contract, and this season has been his farewell tour. He was determined to go out on a high. He bossed his duel against Forest midfielder Elliot and came close to scoring in the first half, which would have been a perfect send-off moment. Kobbie Mainoo covered the ground left behind by Casemiro's forward runs, and his crisp passing continued to show why he is regarded as one of the most technically gifted young midfielders in England. The VAR controversy that divided the room. Now I have to address the controversy because it would be dishonest to discuss this game without going into what happened with the handball decision. There was a moment in the match involving Bruyne Mbeumo, shirt number 19, where the ball struck his arm inside the penalty area. Forest manager Vitor Pereira was asked about it afterward, and his words were measured but revealing. He said, and I want to read this exactly as it was communicated. In the end, this is the doubt we have in this moment in Premier League about these decisions. We don't know what is handball or not. The block's in the box. We don't know when is foul or not. It is important to have a meeting with everybody and try to understand the rules, the decisions, because I think everybody, all the managers in this moment, have doubts about some decisions. Now, my analysis of that statement is this. Pereira was not ranting. He was not screaming at the press conference. He was making a measured and legitimate point. The inconsistency around handball in the Premier League has been a recurring conversation for years. And when even opposing managers are making the same argument with calm reasoning rather than frustration, it tells you the issue is structural and systemic, not just a reaction of a disappointed loser. On the other side, after a VAR review, the referee stuck with the original decision to award the goal to Manchester United. The official Premier League announcement stated that after review, the decision of goal stands because the handball offence is accidental and therefore the final decision is goal. So the goal stood, but the reaction from pundits was divided. Former Manchester United captain Gary Neville was not holding back. He called the VAR decision, and again, I want to read his exact words here. Honestly, that is ridiculous. The VAR has been clear. The player has handballed it. He looked at it for 3 minutes, and the referee has looked at it for another minute. I cannot believe what I have just seen. That was handball. I do not know what to say. And this is where my analysis becomes important. Because Gary Neville and Vitor Pereira were essentially saying the same thing from different sides. One was expressing disbelief, the other was calling for structural clarity. The goal stood according to the laws of the game as currently applied. The handball was ruled accidental. Whether you agree or disagree with that interpretation, the decision was made through the proper process. The controversy, however, does not disappear simply because the process was followed. And that is what makes this such a fascinating and frustrating corner of modern football. Second half drama and the goals that defined the game. The second half is where this match truly exploded. Manchester United came out at half-time with a 1-0 lead. And within 10 minutes of the restart, the game was completely transformed. Elliot Anderson, playing for Nottingham Forest, provided an assist for Morato's equaliser. That brought the score level at 1-1. And this is where the quality of Anderson's performance deserves proper recognition. When you examine what he produced in this game, the numbers are genuinely extraordinary. He led every single major statistical category across both teams. Most touches with 106. Most successful passes with 68. Most passes into the final third with 14. Most possessions won with 9. Most duels won with 9. Most accurate crosses with 4. Most interceptions with 3. Most fouls won with 3. Equal most successful take-ons with 3. And most assists with 2. That final number is historically significant because it was the first time in Anderson's Premier League career that he had provided 2 assists in a single game. That is the kind of performance that does not happen by accident. That is a player operating at the peak of his ability on the biggest stage. Even in defeat, his contribution deserved recognition. But back to Manchester United. Because within 60 seconds of conceding the equaliser, they were back in front. Matheus Cunha scored to restore the lead, making it 2-1, and then the game continued to deliver. Bruno Mbeumo added a third for United, and Forest Morgan Gibbs-White pulled one back to make it 3-2. The final score, Manchester United 3, Nottingham Forest 2. The Matheus Cunha masterclass. Now, I need to spend proper time on Matheus Cunha because he was given a rating of 9 out of 10 in this match, the highest on the pitch, and the description attached to his performance is significant. He is being called the club's newest maverick, and when you analyse why, it becomes clear. The evidence suggests that while other players were forcing the play, trying to manufacture moments for Casemiro to score, or Bruno Fernandes to claim an assist, Cunha was simply playing the game. He was natural, he was instinctive, he created a great chance for Mbeumo before scoring himself in the second half. He did not arrive at this match with an agenda. He arrived to play football and express himself. And that freedom, that unpredictability, is exactly what this Manchester United attack has needed. And it connects to a wider picture. Cunha, Benjamin Sesko and Bruyne Mbeumo have all reached double figures for Premier League goals in their debut season at Old Trafford. Cunha on 10, Sesko on 11 and Mbeumo on 10. The only other club in Premier League history to have 3 players reach 10 or more goals in their first season with the club is Arsenal in 2012-13, when Olivier Giroud, Lucas Podolski and Santi Cazorla achieved the same feat. The reality for the club is that this is not a coincidence. This is what happens when you recruit intelligently and give players a structure and environment in which they can perform. These 3 players arriving together and all hitting double figures is a sign that something is working. Not just in terms of individual quality, but in terms of how the team is set up to support and supply them. Bruno Fernandes and the Premier League assist record. Now let's talk about the captain. Bruno Fernandes came into this game needing 1 more assist to equal the all-time Premier League single-season assist record. The record stands at 20 assists shared by Thierry Henry in 2002-03 and Kevin De Bruyne in 2019-20. And today, Bruno Fernandes joined that list. Before kick-off, Roy Keane had spoken about Fernandes with clear admiration. He said, and again I read this as it was stated, he is in great form. In recent months, the team has found him in good positions, and what matters most to Bruno is having teammates who run ahead of him. If players make the right runs, Bruno will find you. His decision-making and the precision of his passes are the best in the world. Those stats do not surprise us. He has reached a new level. Forest will have to neutralise him today because he is the key man for Manchester United. What is striking about Keane's analysis is how accurate it turned out to be. Forest did not neutralise Fernandes. He was central to the game throughout. However, the player ratings analysis of Fernandes tells an honest story too. He was given 8 out of 10, and the commentary around his performance noted that he was forcing the play in search of the assist, which led to a patchier creative display in the first half. He stepped it up in the second half, and the analysis noted he should have had multiple assists given the chances that were created. After the match, Fernandes himself spoke about it with honesty. He said, "Everyone knew that it was important, that I could get another assist at least. And they have been trying everything they can to score from my passes. There were probably moments, and today, that I should have passed instead of shooting. And still, I got the shot. But I am very happy for this. But more than that, I am very happy to finish the season on a high." That final line is important because it tells you something about his mentality. Yes, the record matters. Yes, 20 assists in a season and equaling Henry and De Bruyne is historic. But his priority is the team finishing well. That is the mindset of a genuine leader. And now, the statistical context. The graphic that circulated after the match confirmed what had been building all season. Most assists provided in a single Premier League season, 20 by Thierry Henry in 2002-03, 20 by Kevin De Bruyne in 2019-20, and now 20 by Bruno Fernandes in 2025-26. Bruno equals the record. My analysis here is this. The players who set this record, Henry, De Bruyne, and now Fernandes, did so in seasons where their clubs were genuinely dangerous and cohesive attacking units. Henry at the Invincibles Arsenal, De Bruyne at Pep Guardiola's dominant Manchester City, and now Fernandes at a Manchester United side that has clearly rediscovered its identity. That context matters. Records are not set in isolation. They are set when the system around you allows you to produce your best football consistently. Peter Schmeichel, the former Manchester United goalkeeper and club legend, captured the spirit of the match perfectly when he said, "Great entertainment." It was end-to-end stuff for the second half and for much of the first half as well. It could have been anything really. It could have been 7-6 with Bruno Fernandes chasing that assist record. It was a fine last game of the season at Old Trafford. Michael Carrick and the numbers that tell the story. Now let's talk about the manager, because the numbers around Michael Carrick's tenure are remarkable. Since he was appointed, Manchester United have accumulated 36 Premier League points. That is more than any other club in the Premier League during the same period. Let that settle for a moment. Not second most, not joint first, the most. More than Liverpool, more than Arsenal, more than Manchester City. 36 points from the time of his appointment to now. That is the form of a title challenger. That is the form of a team with direction, belief and clarity. The evidence of his win rate is equally compelling. After today's result, Carrick has won 11 of his 16 matches in charge of Manchester United this season. There is one game remaining away at Brighton. So across 17 games, his win rate sits at 11 victories from 16 played going into the final day. The situation is that his appointment as permanent head coach is now reported to be imminent, and when you look at these numbers, it is not difficult to understand why. There is also a remarkable piece of history that was made today. Manchester United are now unbeaten in each of their last 400 home league games in which they have led at half-time. That record shows 400 games across wins of 365 and draws of 35. And it stretches all the way back to August 1984. That is over 40 years of never losing a home league game when leading at the break. 400 games. That is the weight of Old Trafford's history, pressing down on every visiting team before the second half has even kicked off. Michael Carrick's speech, every word analysed after the final whistle. Michael Carrick addressed the Old Trafford crowd with a microphone. And I want to take you through this speech carefully because every section of it reveals something about the man and the club's direction. He opened by saying, "I could listen to that all night, but we have got to start here." That was in response to the fans chanting his name. He then said, "What a way for us to finish the season. What a game that was. That is how you like it. We have got to make it hard for ourselves to make it exciting. I thought we played ever so well today. He then spoke about Old Trafford itself, calling it unbelievable to see the place like this, calling it a special place that does magical things. He referenced big games and big moments throughout the season. Then came the tribute to the players. He said, I want to thank the players. I have to say to everybody, this is such a good group of players. I know we are here for football and performance, but they are a really good group of people, and I think that is important, especially at this football club that we sacrifice for each other and look after each other. My analysis of that section is this. What Carrick is doing there is subtly but clearly building a culture. He is not just celebrating a result, he is reinforcing values. Sacrifice, looking after each other. These are not accidental words. These are intentional, deliberate, and they tell you how Carrick is building his environment. He then thanked the backroom staff, the coaches, and all club employees, saying their sacrifice and effort is what makes the place special. He specifically addressed departing players, mentioning Casemiro as someone who has been incredible, noting the great connection with the fan base, and calling the crowd response to him today special. Then came the most personal moment of the speech. Carrick spoke about Tyrell Malacia, the left-back who has endured an extremely difficult period due to injury. He said, we have Tyrell as well, who I mentioned to the boys before kickoff. He has been through a tough time with injuries since he has been here, but please show some appreciation for Tyrell. This was also confirmed separately in a different quote from Carrick, who said specifically about Malacia, there is Tyrell, who I spoke to the lads about before kickoff. He has been through a tough period because of injuries. I invite you to show him your affection. Now, my analysis of this is important. A manager who takes the time in front of 60 to 70,000 fans at the end of a season to single out a player who has not played but who has suffered is a manager who understands what makes a squad cohesive. Not just the starters, not just the scorers, the ones who fight every day knowing they cannot play. Malacia sitting in that stadium, clapping back at the fans who cheered for him is a moment that costs nothing but means everything. And Carrick engineered that moment deliberately. The speech closed with Carrick saying, lastly, listen, it is a huge thank you from me for the support this season. We enjoyed the ups, we enjoyed the downs, and supported each other. And the best thing about this place, as Case just said, is the supporters. It is easy to support and enjoy when everything is good. The connection I have felt from the moment I walked in this place 20 years ago, it is in the tough times and challenging times when we stick together. And this place is incredible. That is what the football club is all about. So thank you. I just want to say one last thank you for the season. It is unbelievable to see this place so full. I hope you enjoyed today. We had some big moments and big goals and big results in this place over the last few months. Hopefully, there will be a few more of them. Take care and have a good summer. That line, from the moment I walked in this place 20 years ago, is not accidental. Carrick knows the emotional weight of his connection to this club as a former player. He is not just a coach, he is part of the identity of Manchester United, and he is using that connection to pull the fan base closer and closer to him. Player by player, the full picture. Let me now give you a complete breakdown of every player who featured today and what their performance tells us. Senna Lamens, 8 out of 10. His one-on-one save in the first half was crucial. He is composed with the ball and secure under pressure. Diogo Dalot, 7 out of 10. The evidence suggests he is currently the stronger option at right back, with one fine cross and consistent, incisive passing throughout. Harry Maguire, 7.5 out of 10. Relished the physicality of the battle with Wood. Went forward with purpose and won his aerial duels clearly. Lisandro Martinez, 7.5 out of 10. Improved from his previous outing, combined good forward passing with last-ditch defensive interventions. Luke Shaw, 8 out of 10, scored the opening goal with a fine volley, overlapped with real intensity, and was a constant threat down the left. Casemiro, 7.5 out of 10, his final home appearance for the club. He was determined to produce, bossed his midfield duel, and came close to scoring a memorable farewell goal. Kobbie Mainoo, 7.5 out of 10. Filled the gaps left by Casemiro's forward runs with discipline and composure. His crisp passing continues to be a trademark. Ahmad, 6 out of 10. Looked more confident on the ball, but the final third decision-making let him down consistently. There is still work to do there. Bruno Fernandes, 8 out of 10. Forcing the play in search of his historic assist, created a slightly patchy first half, but he stepped up in the second half and ultimately achieved the record that everyone was waiting for. Matheus Cunha, 9 out of 10, the standout player on the pitch. Free of the agenda that was driving others, he played naturally, created opportunities, and scored himself. The club's newest maverick is the perfect description. Bruno Fernandes, 6 out of 10, missed 3 clear-cut chances to put the game out of sight, eventually scored at the 4th attempt, and that goal gave Fernandes the assist he needed. But the missed chances will not be forgotten easily. From the substitutes, Patrick Dorgu came on and missed a great chance that would have given Fernandes the outright assist record on his own. Mason Mount ran with purpose. Joshua Zirkzee played some nice balls but lacked the clinical edge needed. What this all means going forward. The situation is that Manchester United are heading into the summer in a fundamentally different position to where they were when this season began. The evidence of 36 points under Carrick'S since his appointment, more than any team in the Premier League in the same period, tells you that the direction is correct. 3 new signings, all reaching double figures for goals in their debut season, is not just impressive individually, it is a sign of a club that is beginning to function as a cohesive attacking unit. When Cunha, Sesko and Mbeumo are all thriving simultaneously, it means the system is supporting them. It means Bruno Fernandes is supplying them, and it means the culture Carrick is building is giving them the freedom to express themselves. Bruno Fernandes, equaling the all-time Premier League assist record with 20 in a single season, joins his name alongside 2 of the greatest players in Premier League history. What is important to note is that his record was built with a team that was not always consistent. There were periods of real difficulty this season, and yet he delivered 20 assists regardless. That is the mark of a truly elite player. Casemiro's farewell was emotional and fitting. A player who gave genuine effort until his last moment in a Manchester United shirt, acknowledged warmly by his manager and his club. Tyrell Malacia applauding fans who applauded him back is the quiet human moment of a season that often moved at full speed. And Michael Carrick addressing 60 to 70,000 people, referencing 20 years of connection to the club, with a permanent appointment reportedly imminent, feels like the closing of one chapter and the opening of another. This was not just a 3-2 win over Nottingham Forest. This was Manchester United reminding themselves and everyone watching what this club is capable of when the right people are in the right positions. The final home game of the season is done. One game remains, away at Brighton, and then the summer begins. And everything that needs to be built will be built on the foundation that today confirmed is already in place. This is Marcus, United Analyst. If you found value in this breakdown, please subscribe. Leave a comment below telling me which moment from today meant the most to you, and share this with any Manchester United supporter who needs the full picture. I will see you in the next one.